And we're going to start. We're going to get rocking and rolling here.
Okay.
What we've put together for you is a program which is not a typical seminar or a workshop. I did an event in 2003 where I brought 50 people from around the world whose job was strategy, from the head of British Airlines all the way down to graduate students, different industries, different walks of life. And I locked them in a room like this in London. For 2 days, we worked to write a book on strategy. And they said it was impossible. You can't write a book in 24 hours. But 24 hours later, they had produced a 45,000-word book. Today, what we've done is we're bringing the brain power of the nation together into one room to address the issue of affordable housing. We're actually, unfortunately, are going to put you to work.
There are Post-it notes. There are black markers, and maybe what we could do is ask you three to talk amongst yourself, come up with something. You two take some Post-its and take a marker, and you two, and we'll get a lot of group activity going here.
Hang on a minute, guys. Whoa, slow down. This is absolutely crucial. Does the housing policy drive the land policy, or does the land policy drive the housing policy?
This can either happen, moving from C to B, this can either happen by the two identified methods. In the bridge mortgage, it is a mortgage product.
If this was to be one of the recommendations coming out and we were to put this in place, which one of these quadrants would you believe this would go into?
What is affordable? What is housing? What does household mean? And what does income mean?
If somebody buys a house, they've bought the house for life, and rarely will they move on and up.
You'd have to tax every single occupier, right? Administratively, that's a nightmare.
It's much easier to get money, right, to support your budget as a government from the British, the Danish, the Americans, than to hit the Ghanaians who put you in office.
The housing policy has looked at housing lands, accessing housing lands.
So, if I was to take that off, we don't want that. Okay, that's wrong. Okay.
We have a certain amount of work that we've anticipated, but then we have also put into motion a process of generating a lot of things that we may not use, but we have to have them available just in case something changes or the direction of a conversation goes in a different way. We need to have the right kinds of tools to support that. So we've created a process that is very dynamic. And each facilitator has a toolkit, and they may only use 10% of that toolkit, or they may use 90%. We don't know until the dialogue actually starts.
That's the one.
This one here?
No. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. This is for formal. Bingo. So it seems that a team process working in subgroups where we do brainstorming, we then chart it, create sort of a split, helps us generate better solutions. As long as you're working for yourself, it's your idea. The minute it's here, it's our collective idea.
Let's see if we can achieve a unit price that suits this amount of money. $5,000. Can you produce a house for that amount of money?
Yes.
Can you?
It can be done.
All right. Why aren't you doing it?
We're in the process.
Well, the problem is the land. Why would I put a $5,000 house when I could put a $20,000 house or a $40,000 house or an $80,000 house?
So what we're saying is that at 5,000, the government will need to lay out some infrastructure. It doesn't have to be a sexy road, but if they brought electricity and water to the site, that would help. I mean, even if we had to do the bulldozing just to bulldoze some roads.
The incentive isn't there for me to experiment in this business.
But also, I think the fact of the matter is, once you're doing a house that is actually costing $5,000, the margins on this are a lot smaller, isn't it?
There has to be a huge supply. People have got to get away from the concept of I'm having to build my own house. No, you don't have to build your own house. Buy a house that's been built already.
I have a house and it never was. I'm sure there's several of us sitting here who have houses and they never went through the banking system.
Instead of, say, I'm building a 3-bedroom, but I will do 1 room and a kitchen at a time. In that case, you can grow with it. So you can move from the C into part of B.
What we found in the past is that people will sit and just talk a subject to death. And they have to be kind of poked a little bit and shown that we're here to literally write a strategy in a very short period of time. And if you look at the total number of delegates that we have, each person is going to write about 1,400 words. And that's a pretty sizable strategy document. That's, better part of 200 pages, just in that little bit. But it has to be the right 1,400 words. A lot of these issues that we're going to talk about are emotional. People get very passionate about things, especially when you put them into a national context. So what we've designed is a method of working that will help us understand when people are passionate and how to allow them to express themselves. One of the ground rules that we have for the group, is that everyone can't agree. We want dialogue. We want people to disagree. We want to have an argument.
How are we going to develop? How are we going to develop? How are we going to develop if we do not sacrifice a little? People have sacrificed for this, for our independence and have come, but right now the form of sacrifice is different. And the form of sacrifice is the moral courage and the ability to say, I don't care if I lose my job. I'm going to speak the truth. And
these things are possible, Mr. Nku.
I'm not saying it's not possible, it's difficult.
Yeah. I don't think it's difficult. We are just bad people.
That's not true.
We're done? Okay. All right, everyone, if I could just have your attention just for a few moments. We've come to the end of what we'll call the official part of the day in the activities that we're doing. We have this room. If you want to continue discussing things and having debates and chatting and all that, you're more than welcome to soldier on and do whatever. If you even take notes, that's even better, because then we can actually use those as well. But feel free to do that. I would like people tonight at the dinner to try to mix up out of your groups and get to meet people. In fact, one task would be for you to meet at least 3 people that you don't know. Just walk up to them and introduce yourself. Say, hello, how are you? And get to know who they are.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, how are you? 1 down, 2 to go.
It just says cost of finance. We weren't really sure.
The last exercise is basically we will go over the table of content of the suggested national strategy. Do we all have this? Yes. Yeah. I don't. For those who don't, can they share please with someone? Yeah. Right. So can we just go through them by eye and see if you think there is something else to add?
A strategy has to be credible, memorable, demonstrable, actionable, and measurable. And if each element of the strategy meets that, then it's plausible to do these things. If it doesn't meet those, then most strategies fall apart. And if we look at a lot of strategies, both in developing nations and in developed nations as well, they all start off with a great fanfare, and a lot of them just sort of fade away and never reach completion.
The good thing is the fact that it's a private initiative from a bank. It's not a government organized conference. Is good. But to think that is not the only one is one of several that has happened on affordable housing can get tiresome. But let's hope that because this is a private initiative, we'll see some realistic results coming from this.
The process itself, which we went through, the sitting by the table and chatting. Okay, I've come to know not only persons but organizations that are also involved in housing, which I did not know.
The participatory approach is a very welcome, departure from the old seminars and workshops where somebody comes in and gives you all the lectures and then at the end, all you can say is amen.
What I learned here is how to keep people in a room and make them think about one specific thing, even when they are tired. Wow, it's experience. It's an experience, and I intend to replicate this in my academic life.
So what we're focused on is we're doing a process that we do in business called right to left thinking. What's the end state, and how do we work backwards from there to get to that point? So we want this group to create a vision of the end state, and then how do we measure that? And in the case of affordable housing, the measurement is quite easy. New people in new homes that they can afford. It's that simple.
So on behalf of the ministry and the people of Ghana, I must express my profound gratitude to the management of Barclays Bank of Ghana Limited. And it is my wish and prayer that all recommendations made by this think tank will come to fruition. God bless us all. Thank you.
That concludes the official part of this, and thank you for your time for being here.
There's no film in those cameras.
Well, we're now back in Cambridge. It's been 2 months since the event took place, and it's given us time to take what was developed during the 2 days and compile that into what we consider a comprehensive national strategy for affordable housing in Ghana. The methodology has worked beyond our wildest dreams. It has been able to prove that given the right environment, people within a nation state can come together and develop a solution to a socio-economic problem. In the case of Ghana and affordable housing, 2 projects have come out of this, which are really the top priorities for the nation, which are reforming the land registry process and reforming the dispute resolution process for people who are disputing land ownership. Those 2 projects in and of itself are the beginning of a journey towards providing affordable housing in Ghana during the course of the next 5 years or next few years. Now we're moving into implementation, and here again, the implementation of these things has to come from people within the nation state, Africans implementing solutions for Africans.
deep inside of me. Sense is so alive, guide me on my trip closer to my dream.